afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for joining us on our first Microsoft Cloud and Cloud Marketplace update for 2017. My name is Craig Boved, and I'm joined today by our Microsoft MVP, Robert Crane. So just to give you all a bit of an overview of what we want to cover off today is, first of all, we want to welcome all our brand new partners that have joined us for their first time in our cloud updates. We're going to run through and hand over to Rob. Rob's going to take us through a few of the updates that we've started to see come through on the Microsoft Cloud platform across both the Office 365 and the Azure side of things. And then I'm going to jump right back in and give you an overview of some of the updates we have around our marketplace, and then take you through some of the events and promotions coming on, and talk to you a little bit more about a new kind of thing that we're starting up with our marketplace Mondays, with our regular updates there with one of the team members, Emmy Beal. So to get things underway, I just wanted to quickly cover off the Ingram Micro Cloud concept for all the new partners that are joining us. To give you a bit of an overview, we've been going now for just over 2 years with the Ingram Micro Cloud team locally here. And while we've been growing with our team here, we've also been growing in other areas. So as you can see there, we're now in something like 31, actually I think it's 33 countries now with our marketplace. And we've got over 7,000 resellers working with us. That's over 1,000 here in Australia with us as well. So we're very much keeping expanding, bringing on new vendors, bringing on new services, bringing on new partners, and diving into deeper areas with our cloud services. So if you have only just joined us, by all means, reach out to the team. Happy to take you through a little bit more of what we do and how we do it and how we can work with our partners, building on your services, building on your managed services, building on your support, helping you with admin, helping you with marketing. Very much here to get in, jump in with our partners, make 2017 a fantastic year for us all. But in terms of what we're talking about, when we do talk about Ingram Micro Cloud, as I kind of touched on there, this is a global play for us. So we have a global team across our marketing, across our sales, across our solution architects. The marketplace that we have here in Australia is exactly the same as the marketplace that we have in New Zealand and Singapore and Hong Kong and India and the UK. So, if you do have partners that have offices or branches in those areas, being able to manage those guys from afar, from a subscription and cloud piece, makes it just as easy as you can do it here as well. But of course, on the ground here, we have our dedicated Ingram Micro Cloud team. We've got our channel development managers out and about on the ground across the various states. We've got our team of internal account managers to work with you on the day-to-day side of things as well. We've got our dedicated marketing team, our dedicated vendor team on there. We're very much trying to take a holistic view to how we work with our partners here. So again, if you haven't touched base with us, if you haven't got on board with the team, very much keen to hear from you and talk about where you're at and where we can help you from, again, not just a services perspective, but helping you around the sales and marketing aspect. The guys here that we have in our team, most of us, including myself, have come from reseller land, so we very much understand what it's like to get out there and grow the business, seeking new customers, seeking new services, seeking new revenue streams. And while today we're going to talk around some of the updates for the Office 365 and Azure platforms and give you a bit of an update where we are at with the Cloud Marketplace. The Cloud Marketplace for us is just kind of step one in terms of what we're talking about from our cloud platforms perspective. So you may have already heard or talked to us about our cloud store offering, being able to white label both the front end and the back end of the marketplace, particularly the customer control panel. If you've been talking to us around maybe the Microsoft CSP Tier 1 program, if you've grown your 365 and Azure business to a point where it now makes sense to join up on that program direct with Microsoft, we can help you as well from a platform and automation perspective by giving you almost like a cookie cutter version of our marketplace that you can run on your own system, start plugging in your own services and the Microsoft services, and start plugging in more of the Ingram Micro services as well. And then we extend a little bit out further with the Ensign and the Odin platform, but those tend to be more for our hosters and some of the smaller telco providers that we've been working with as well. But by all means, I guess from here the story is, we can start you from that very kind of first instance into the cloud, and as you progress and build that business, we can help you along the whole way from, that platform and automation perspective as well. And look, just touching on the marketplace and the cloud store piece, if you are starting to reach out into some of that kind of e-commerce space, or you have your own website where you are doing a little bit of that e-commerce piece now, we can easily plug into that and allow you to start adding in the different services that we have on the marketplace in there as well. All fully customizable. You can see a little bit of a preview of the front end there, but we also then start looking at how we can tailor the back end for you, add in some of your own services, start setting up marketing campaigns, etc. in there as well. This is a big play for us here, particularly as now we're starting to see more partners really kind of focus and develop on their Office 365 and Azure go-to-market with their clients. Again, for those that aren't quite familiar with everything that we have on the marketplace, we're starting to build our vendors across the infrastructure, the security play, the communications, the collaboration, business applications, as well as the actual management services, tools for resellers and our partners to maybe ease migration, automate billing, etc. And you'll see on the right-hand side there, obviously, yes, we work with Office 365 and Azure. We also work with IBM Software. We've got Nomidesk and Dropbox on there, Acronis from a backup perspective, Sirius from a secure messaging perspective, and then Skykick and BitTide. Again, some of those tool sets in there. And a little bit later, I'm going to touch on some of the brand new vendors that we've just launched, some of the changes with those vendors, and some vendors to keep a keen eye out for as well. But just touching on, again, our team here and talking about that kind of business conversation. Very much so if you're starting out and just looking into building that MSP practice, bringing in the CSP program, starting to look at that true month-to-month kind of billing option for your clients, it's very much a large conversation. It's not just around finding the right licenses. It's about making sure you can do the admin properly, do the billing properly, the deployment and the support side of things as well. And again, given that the team members that we have here, a lot of us have worked in reseller land, we can really kind of have those conversations, understand where you're coming from, and we've got 2 years of experience behind us, particularly in these fields. I'm more than happy to get on and start doing some workshopping and diving a little bit deeper into what is required in the back end before we even get into that services conversation. And that's really kind of the building blocks that we look to put in place with our partners. Start looking at the administration and billing piece, and that's why we work with the likes of the ConnectWise. The technical support, we can help you scale out both from like a migration deployment, but an ongoing support side of things as well with our service desk. With our professional services, our lifecycle and services team here at Ingram, we can help you with maybe some of the larger projects, or maybe it's widespread projects that we can do. Again, around support, around Sharepoint development, around CRM development. We've got the ability to bring in key partners to work alongside you to be able to really handle areas that you may not necessarily have played in before, or being able to scale out from that perspective as well. We've also got the ability to help you with the marketing side of things as well. And obviously, those who have joined us with our Elevate on Demand and boot camps, you'll know that we have a full-on education program as well. And obviously, how we put that all together and start delivering that, and doing subscription customer management, that's exactly where the cloud marketplace fits in. So, look, that's it for me. Just, as I said, just a quick update on who we are and what we do, and by all means, please do reach out. You'll see our contact details at the end there. But now, I would like to hand you over to Rob Crane, our in-house Microsoft MVP, to take you through a few of the updates that has come across in the last kind of few months with the Office 365 and Azure updates. Rob, over to you.
Thanks, Craig. Okay, so let's kick off our updates here by first looking at the overall picture that Microsoft is now giving us. So next slide, please. Okay, so to kick things off here, it's important to know that like Office 365 revenues continue to grow. Last quarter, they were slated at $7.4 billion. Obviously, we've now reached a tipping point where more and more people are now accepting this. It's now becoming a very standard, accepted part of technology, whether people and customers use the complete cloud solution or they do hybrid. But the trend certainly is that the Office 365 product is a success and being taken up by more and more customers each and every day. Next. On the other side, also Azure continues to improve in a massive amount here. So you can see that in the last quarter alone, it's almost growing, almost doubling per quarter. So we're now seeing more and more people picking up and wanting to move workloads, wanting to move some of their applications and hosting into the Azure environment. So the big advantage that the Azure product gives you when combined with Office 365 is they are effectively on the same platform, and it gives you that single user identity shared between both environments. So again, important to note that the Azure stuff is really growing really quickly given the volume of services that it provides, everything from IaaS to PaaS, all that sort of stuff. It's just a huge tool that we're seeing more and more demand, and that's again indicated by the figures that Microsoft's reporting in its revenues. Next, please. So taking all the cloud business together for Microsoft, we're looking basically at an annualized return of about $14 billion. So Microsoft alone is generating around $14 billion for its cloud products, being Office 365, Dynamics, Azure. So again, these are very large numbers and show a considerable focus now by end users onto moving a lot of their infrastructure away from on-premise, away from them having to manage and maintain it themselves and outsourcing it. And again, this means for resellers that there still is that need to obviously do the migration. There still is that need to help customers enable all these services because, again, typically we see that Office 365 is mostly used only for email. A lot of customers don't take advantage of things like Skype for Business, Yammer, Sharepoint, Power BI, and so on. So the opportunities are there to enable a lot of these services. Next. The final point which I want to highlight for people is the LinkedIn purchase has been finalized, so it is now a division of Microsoft. It is now contributing to Microsoft's overall revenue. This will be an interesting play because obviously one of the largest social networks out there, especially the professional networks, is LinkedIn. Now, where the natural fit with LinkedIn is for Microsoft will be in the CRM space. So imagine a situation where Microsoft connects their CRM products into LinkedIn and are able to pull in LinkedIn information, portfolio information, skill sets, testimonials directly into a CRM, whether it's for employees or customers, prospects, or whatever. So a big play, I think, with LinkedIn coming down the track is going to be with CRM. However, there are also other rumors of LinkedIn products and services being serviced through things like Azure AD. So imagine the ability to connect a LinkedIn profile to an Azure AD credential and then obviously flow through things like pictures, skill sets, titles, all that sort of stuff. So again, early days for the LinkedIn purchase, but do remember that Microsoft has added that product to its portfolio and certainly would be encouraging resellers to make sure that they have their LinkedIn profile up to date and as current and as attractive as possible. Next. So let's turn our attention now specifically to some Office 365 updates. So I think the big update that a lot of people have been very keen to hear about is the updated OneDrive for Business Sync client. So again, you'll see the URL there. You can go out and check the specific details, but some of the big advantages that the updated sync client will provide is, firstly, it will now sync SharePoint document libraries. So previously, we could only typically sync our OneDrive for Business, but now the sync client allows you to synchronize as many SharePoint document libraries, again, just using the sync button, sync those to the desktop. The other advantage it's also provided is a completely new engine, very robust, able to synchronize gigs and gigs of information successfully to desktops. Best practice, obviously, is to not sync massive amounts of data. That's always going to cause problems no matter what syncing technology that you do use. And OneDrive now, the OneDrive sync client now gives us the ability to do selective sync as well. So we can go in and selectively sync folders, files, or individual items using this new sync client. We also get an update, status update, so we can hover over the icon, we can see which files are updating, the progress of them, the amount of data that's been synced. We also get the ability to pause the synchronization, so maybe that you traveling and you have low Wi-Fi or slow Wi-Fi access, basically you can pause the syncing for a number of different options and it will automatically kick off in the background. Now, Microsoft has committed to push this update out to all clients who have it on their machine or as part of the Office on the desktop, but you can certainly go in, follow the links in the URL that is provided there and manually install it if you want, but this new sync client has started to roll out for all customers who are using it. And again, the big advantage now is that you can synchronize SharePoint document libraries to the desktop. Next, please. In line with the updates for the OneDrive sync client on the desktop, we also now have a new OneDrive admin console in the portal. So this will allow us to control the synchronization across our network users. It will allow us to determine what size can be allocated to users for their OneDrive for Business. It gives us, as administrators, a huge amount of control over the synchronization from a central location. So we get control over the synchronization client and also the OneDrive web storage area that we use in Office 365. Again, if you follow the links there, that'll show you more about the console, and again, they continue to add features into this basically all the time. So certainly have a look, fire it up, and you'll certainly get more control as an administrator over OneDrive for your users using the new admin console. It's important to remember that also at the back end, there is additional PowerShell commands that you can script a lot of the stuff you see in the web interface. That makes it, again, nice and easy if you want to automate these processes on a regular basis. Next, please. Microsoft continues to add features and functionality to Office 365. So recently it added a service called Bookings to its Business Premium. It has now added a Staff Hub application to its Enterprise Suite. So this Staff Hub is now available free to anybody who has basically an E license or an Enterprise license. Now, what Staff Hub gives you is the ability basically to work with rosters. So you can set out a calendar, you can determine rosters for individuals. There is a mobile application that the users can load onto their machines, onto their devices, and then they can see what rosters they are, and if they want, they can easily change, update, swap rosters with other people in their organization. So when they do want to change a roster, they can request a swap with another user. That request goes to the user as well as the manager for both of them to approve. So remember that Staff Hub is a free service with the enterprise version of Office 365. Have a look at it. Again, there's a lot more that will be going into this product over time as we speak. It, again, gives you a basic outline, but again, nice service that will work for users who have a need, especially to do rostering. Next, please. One of the other things that is beginning to roll out now is the updated SharePoint capabilities. So we're now seeing new interfaces available for SharePoint, much more mobile friendly. They change the look and the feel of the pages, allow you to easily add widgets. You'll also find that there are additional new widgets that are available that you can embed on into your pages. One of the widgets that was just announced today is the ability now to embed directly from Power BI, a dashboard, directly into a SharePoint team site. So again, you can develop a dashboard icon, you can then embed that directly into a team site. So the changes in the SharePoint environment are being rolled out to all tenants. This may result in some changes to the look and the feel of the environment. It also gives resellers an opportunity to go back and visit their customers and speak to them about these changes and work out the best way that they can implement these updated facilities and better look and feel for their end users. So again, lots and lots of changes happening with SharePoint to make it much easier to work with. Don't forget that there also now is a dedicated SharePoint app that will allow you to get to your files and folders and information on from a team site and across multiple team sites. So again, very important that not only do you show customers the new look and feel and all the new functionality that's coming with SharePoint, but it's also very important to make sure that users have the applications, the mobile apps like the SharePoint mobile app installed on their devices to make access much easier. So these devices, these applications, if you haven't seen them, again, improve the functionality, are very, very slick in the way that they operate and obviously integrate very well together with other Microsoft apps on the device. And they're readily available for all the mobile platforms. And again, no cost to get those mobile apps up and running. Next, please. So let's turn our attention to Microsoft Azure. So Azure continues to grow, like I said, almost doubling quarter on quarter. This means that there are a huge amount of features and functionality that are being added to that product on a daily basis. This is a great opportunity, obviously, to provide solutions to a whole range of issues and trouble that customers may have and solve a lot of their business problems. Now, one of the other things we notice with Azure as the service continues to grow is the lowering of prices. So an indication here is that the pricing on our F1 and F16 VMs, again, are dropping around 20-odd%. The A series, which you can't quite see on the slide, are also dropping as well. So we're seeing those sort of reductions across virtual machines, which means it's becoming cheaper and cheaper to run infrastructure as a service directly in Azure. The other thing that has been reduced, obviously, is the storage. So you have a reduction of around 26% for the hot blob storage, and the cool tier, which is obviously a little bit slower on the access, you can see that is now dropped by 40%. So not only are the virtual machines getting cheaper, but also the storage that comes also with Azure. So remember that it's not an all or nothing. You can certainly use different parts of Azure to achieve different solutions. But again, as the service continues to grow, as the service is spread across a number of additional users, the cost can be driven down as Microsoft gets more and more efficiencies in its data center arrangement. So again, nice handy bonus for 2017. Next, please. One of the major requests for resellers and customers has been the ability to receive invoices directly via email. So you can go in following the link here and you can configure for invoices from Azure to be sent to the address you nominate. So this means that rather than having to go through the portal or having everything rolled up into a single bill, you can receive those updates automatically. You could obviously go in and configure that for a customer if they have an individual tenant and you're responsible for it. So this just gives you the flexibility. It also indicates the advances and the improvements that Azure is making when it comes to the administration, and also the ability to have advantages for resellers. So again, billing is always one of the challenges when it comes to such a large product like Azure, which is billed by the minute. But as indicated here, and again in the article, which I'd encourage you to have a look at, is that you have the ability now to automatically have invoices sent you via email. Next, please. Azure has also now included the ability to do tenant restriction. So what that means is that when you are publishing or when you have your applications available through the Azure portal, you see that we can now go in and we can now control when and where people have access to the applications that are deployed through Azure. So remember that Office 365 is also part of the Azure sphere, so we can also do restrictions when it comes to Office 365 applications. So perhaps users, you don't want users to access them via a certain IP, you can go in and have a look at that article and see how quickly and easily you can set up the ability to restrict applications that are part of the Azure environment. So again, more control and more ability to customize how the applications are accessed. The important thing also to remember is the great thing about Azure is the back-end reporting. So once you put in these restrictions, it then starts getting logged, and you can then pull out reports and present those and track those down to a very low level if required. Next, please. So one of the final things is, if you're not aware, that Microsoft decided to retire its remote application, which was available in the old Service Manager portal. It then committed to releasing an updated version in partnership with Citrix that would replace this service. So for those of you who aren't aware, Remote App was basically RDS, Remote Desktop Server, as a service, which meant that you could pay a monthly fee, users could access applications, and it would automatically scale up the resources as required without you having to spin up virtual machines. So basically you just purchased a SKU, and then as required the service would spin up, and the demand would then be metered out depending on the usage. So Microsoft has given us further information, and the blog post here is from Citrix. It indicates the new product that they are bringing to market. They're expecting to bring that to market in the very near future. We're expecting to see it probably before the end of the quarter, and this will be a direct replacement for Remote App. It will be available in the Service Manager portal, in the new Resource Manager portal, and it will allow users obviously now to add RDS as a service in Azure, but again provided via Citrix. No information yet on pricing and configuration, but that is certainly not far away if we have a look at the information that is being provided. Now, the last thing I mentioned, I didn't manage to get this into the slide because it's fairly new information. Microsoft has announced that it now has instant file recovery from the cloud using Azure Backup. Now, Azure Backup allows you to back up files and folders. It allows you to back up virtual machines. And again, one of the limitations was it wasn't so much like common technologies you see out there, things like Shadow Protect and Acronis that do imaging based. Well, the information is that they have released an updated agent that will allow you, once you have installed that agent, to do instantaneous recovery. So in effect, it works like a Shadow Protect product. It allows you to identify a restore point, and you simply mount that restore point as a virtual drive in your machine. You can then drag and drop files from that backup into your machine. So again, very much like a Shadow Protect, creates a mount point and then basically allows you to drag and drop that. Again, the important thing to remember here is that that is now possible with the Azure Backup for files and folders, and also available when you use the Azure Backup for VMs. So if you have an issue with the VM, you can effectively now mount the image of the VM that was taken at that point in the backup and then copy the files across. You can also do complete restores of volumes if you need to. Now, Azure Backup also provides, on top of that, is also providing the site recovery facility as well, and that continues on. So again, a very, very good coverage that is provided when it comes to backup and DR with Azure. I certainly encourage resellers to have a look at, because it's probably the easiest way to get into the Azure environment if you haven't already. And remember that the important thing here is that a lot of these services are available to you as a partner through you don't use right. So you should have access to Office 365, Azure credits, and so on. So certainly encourage you to work through those links, have a look at those new products, have a play with that. If you've got any questions, again, hit up the Ingram team. They'll be able to provide you with any information that you want. There's a lot more information that is coming out about Office 365 and Azure on a regular basis. So again, stay in tune with the Ingram Micro team to get all the latest updates. Encourage you obviously to also come to the boot camps to get hands-on whiteboarding, and we can actually work some of these out day to day and go into some more detail and help you apply this directly to your business. But I think that's all I've got at this stage, Craig.
That's great. Thanks, Rob. And just to kind of tie back into what Rob was talking about with the events around the Azure and Citrix side of it. So here at Ingram Micro, we also work with the Parallels team that also work within the Azure on their remote application service. So very much in the same kind of lines as what they're doing with Citrix around that remote app side of things. So if that is an area that you guys are looking into, I guess that kind of next step over and above, a remote desktop server, make sure you reach out to the guys here in the Parallels team, and you'll see a lot more information come out as we start to roll these out into some of our boot camps as well. And if you are starting to have a look around and do some test dev, using those credits with the Microsoft Action Pack, Parallels has just recently released their virtual machine inside the Azure Marketplace here as well. So very, very easy to deploy and bring your own licenses on that as well. Again, if it's an area that you're starting to look into, by all means, please reach out and we can make sure you start having the right conversations with the right people. So now just to take you through some of the updates around our cloud marketplace. And for those that have been regulars with us, you will very much see now that we have a brand new look for the new year. So the facelift for the Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace has now been deployed and launched. Still the same way in terms of being able to navigate around to the different cloud services within there. But as we start rolling out some new features in our homepage, you'll start to see those pop through, particularly around our education and updates pieces in there as well. But if you haven't been on, by all means, jump onto au.cloud.im right now, activate that account, hit the login button at the top right. You'll just need to use the existing credentials that you have if you've been on the Ingram Micro Tech Link site. You'll need to just import your information, confirm your address, and choose whether or not you want to be charged to a terms account or to a credit card. 5 minutes later, your account will be activated and you will be up and running. And just in terms of the marketplace, for guys that have just been, maybe you've just activated your account, you've just joined us, when we talk about the marketplace, we're kind of talking about 3 different levels. So the marketplace at front end, well, I've just showed you that's had a bit of a facelift. That's all about setting up new orders, new subscriptions, and new customers. But when we start looking at the deployment and management of existing customers, that's where we dive into the reseller control panel, and we can actually dive into a customer-facing control panel there as well. So there's a lot to do and a lot to learn around the marketplace if you're just getting going. And I'll give you a bit of a preview of what's coming up with our regular Monday Marketplace webinars with Emmy Beale from our team here as well. The other big news is we are welcoming someone to our Marketplace family, and that is Symantec and the brand new Symantec Endpoint Protection Cloud service. It's a brand new service from them and a brand new portal that you'll actually see a lot more of the Symantec services starting to roll into as they kind of phase this in. But Symantec Endpoint Protection for cloud for users, there's also a server option in there as well, and there's also an encryption service within there as well. You'll start to see a little bit more around this. We've got a webinar coming up very soon diving into the Symantec Endpoint Protection Cloud services. But if there's something that you're starting to look at, again, please reach out and we'll take you through it ever so quickly. And you actually see a few more security products come out as well. So on the roadmap, so you'll see there we've got a webinar coming up on the 21st of Feb for Symantec. We're also starting to see some new Dropbox business plans come out as well. So if you are working with Dropbox at the moment, you'll know that they've just released 3 new plans. There's a whole bunch of brand new features. Particularly exciting is their ShareSync service within there as well. So you look out for a webinar. Again, if you're a Dropbox partner, you want to know a little bit more now, by all means, reach out. If you're not a Dropbox partner, but you want to get on board, reach out. We can sign you up to the Dropbox Partner Program, get you on their training portal, and all geared up for when we launch these a little bit later this month. Another thing that you will see, and this is particularly for our partners that are on the advisor program with Microsoft, you'll start to see some news come out around our new Office 365 referral program. Also, another vendor that's just literally launched with us this week is DocuSign. DocuSign, very good key part, particularly molding into that Office 365 story. We've just launched them from the traditional side of things, and you'll see them come out over the next couple of months into our marketplace as well. Also on the security front, Norton. So Norton will be launching with us sometime next week. So another great endpoint security product in there as well, particularly if you've been working with them in that kind of SMB or retail space. Great way to start moving in from that kind of retail piece into that managed services zone as well. So you see a lot more come out about them very shortly. Another big one is Autodesk. So Autodesk will also be launching with us later next week as well. And then for those that have been working with IBM on their software IaaS platform, there's a whole bunch of new updates coming out to the marketplace as well. Some great new functionality sets to be able to start automatically spinning up those services in there as well. So do keep your eyes peeled. If you want to find out anything further about any of the stuff that we've just mentioned, our details will be up at the end. Again, drop us an email, give us a call. All right. Also, we have a huge range of events and promotions on at the moment. The big one is our Rise Above promotion that we've been running since December. Make sure if you are on board with Microsoft CSP, start gearing up around becoming some of those top resellers on Azure. If you're just starting off, it's all about getting new customers on there, top customer ads on there. And if you've been with us for a while and you're starting to ramp up those new customer ads, get into that kind of top end of the revenue piece. We're going to send you to Phoenix, Arizona, where we have our rather large and extensive global cloud summit spread over 3 days. I will, and probably hitting there this year as well, feedback from our partners. We actually had partners win a couple of awards last year as well. Again, if you want to find out more, please reach out. Then, specifically around the Office 365, so Microsoft has their CSP cashback program running until the end of March. Again, in line with some of our promotions, it's all about getting new customers on board there. You'll see the eligible extra rebates that you have. So again, make sure you've got your MPN and your MOSPA signed, you've got your bank account details and you've signed up for that, because that's how you're going to claim and how you're going to get those rebates as well. And just talking around Azure. So if you happen to miss our Azure boot camp at the end of last year, I'll go through some of the details about the events that we're rolling out with Rob on Office 365 and Azure as well. But we have a huge amount of resources for Azure. We've got our on-demand portal, a whole bunch of self-study online courses on there, right from getting started all the way through to some of the deeper end admin stuff. We can also help you around, obviously, with the pricing and architecting solutions. We've got guys in-house, and we've also got some of our kind of Microsoft black belt guys that we can bring into there as well. We also have partnered up recently with NetEnrich. So if you've got the need to move some Azure workloads from the old classic Azure Service Manager, the open license side of things, or maybe some legacy direct Azure services, we can help you with the migration, planning, and deployment of moving them across the Azure Resource Manager on the Azure CSP program as well. Now, if you haven't already got on board with our Elevate On Demand, like I said before, we have a huge amount of video and email-based courses on there as well. Also, all of our webinars that we do, we've got up on our YouTube page, a ton of stuff on there as well. All right, as I said, Dropbox, we've got some new services coming out. You'll see those start rolling out around those new plans, but in the meantime, while those legacy plans are still there, there's a huge opportunity to get some heavily discounted services in there, and there's a whole bunch of prizes and giveaways on there as well. If you haven't already seen it, stay tuned for it to be pushed out again later next week. And we'll also be detailing and diving into those changes with the Dropbox side of things as well. Now, also related to that, and obviously plugs into the Azure and Microsoft story, is our friends at BitTitan. And there's just been a rather extensive price drop with the BitTitan tools. All that pricing has been updated, is now available on the marketplace as well. Now, in terms of the boot camps that we've got, so the cloud team and Rob will be out and about through February and March. We're going to go and try and hit some of the more regional areas this time around, talking you through Office 365 and Azure, both from an opportunity and a technical perspective. Great opportunity to get along and get in touch with Rob, as well as our cloud team. So you'll see there, we've got Bendigo on the 22nd of February, Adelaide on the 28th, Sydney out at Homebush on the 2nd, the Gold Coast on the 7th, and Hobart on the 9th. Also, our New South Wales and ACT team, Zoe Talbot and Emmy Beale, will be out and about in the States as well. So they've got their Gosford event on 14th of February. You've got Newcastle on the 16th, and then they'll be down in Canberra on the 21st. Now, as I alluded to before, if you've been on the marketplace previously and maybe you've got a couple of questions or you're just getting started, Emmy Beale has now started running some Marketplace Monday webinars. So every Monday at 1 p.m. Sydney time, Emmy will be running through some of the basics, but we'll also be then focusing on a couple of different topics as well. So you see, coming up, we're going to be running through the marketplace billing and financial side of things as well. 20th, we've got BitTitan coming in, talking around some of the mail document migration, and Skykick will be in on the 27th. So stay tuned and make sure you sign up and join us then. But that is it all from us. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Rob, again, for giving us all the updates on Microsoft Cloud Platform. Our details are there. Give us a call, drop us a line. And any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to the team and let's get you in contact with the right resources, the right people, and start having the right conversations. Thank you very much, and enjoy your Friday afternoon. Thanks, guys.